जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन भज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन भज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन भज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन भज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन भज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन भज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन भज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन भज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन भज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन भज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद श्री राधे जय राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद श्री राधे जय निताय सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि 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 जय प्रभुपदा 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 हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल जय गौर Stotra Shata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Shri Laisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mathura Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samved Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Our glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna.
Our glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna.
Our glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna.
Our glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Our glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthagopale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshakarane Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu Krishne Mati Vastu Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad-Gita chapter 8, texts 11 to 15. So this is Akshara Brahma Yoga chapter 8, attaining the Supreme. So text 11, we can just read this. Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti
Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti
Vishanti Yatayo Vitaragaha
Vishanti Yatayo Vitaragaha
Yadichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti
Yadichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti
Tatte Padam Sangrahena Pravakshe
Tatte Padam Sangrahena Pravakshe.
The word by word is Yat,
Yat,
that which,
that which,
Aksharam,
Aksharam,
syllable Om,
syllable Om,
Veda Vidaha,
Veda Vidaha,
persons conversant with the Vedas,
persons conversant with the Vedas,
Vadanti,
Vadanti,
say,
say,
Vishanti,
Vishanti,
enter,
enter,
Yat,
Yat,
in which, Yatayaha,
Yataya,
great sages,
great sages,
Vitaragaha,
Vitaragaha,
in the renounced order of life,
in the renounced order of life,
Yat,
Yat,
that which,
Ichantaha,
Ichantaha, desiring, Brahmacharyam,
Brahmacharyam,
celibacy, Charanti, practice, Tat, that, Te, onto you, Padam, situation, Sangrahena, in summary, Pravakshe, I shall explain. So the translation here is, persons who are learned, in the Vedas, who utter Omkara, and who are great sages, in the renounced order, enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now briefly explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation. Okay, so this is, Krishna is mentioning here about the Yad Aksharam Veda Vido Vadanti Vishanti Yad Yatayo Vitaragaha Yad Ichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti Tatte Padam Sangrahena Pravakshe. So Yad Aksharam Veda Vido Vadanti. Akshara. So Akshara, this is actually the chapter of Akshara Brahma Yoga. Akshara Brahma. So there are two words, Kshara and Akshara. Kshara means that which does not exist permanently, which is temporary. Kshara is temporary. Akshara is that which is permanent. So Om iti ekaksharam mantram vyaharan mam anusmaran. Krishna will say later, we'll discuss this in this chapter 8 itself. He mentions about the power of the Omkara mantra. So this Omkara, when one is concentrating on Omkara mantra, one is getting into that stage of Akshara. One understands that this existence, so basically when we are in this material world, the existence has got two different perspectives. One is the Akshara, which is the absolute, and another is Kshara, which is a relative. So the absolute means that on which everything else rests. So for example, if we have to do anything in this life, the basis for doing anything in this life is consciousness. So if there is no consciousness, even though the body exists, it has no life. The life in the body is happening because there is consciousness. So that is the absolute reality. The consciousness is the absolute reality. That is Akshara. All the other things that exist on top of consciousness is a relative reality. Because why it is relative? Because it needs consciousness for everything else to take place. For example, my whole world, again we can go back to that analogy of waking, dream and deep sleep, the three different states that exists. Generally they actually say the Omkara mantra, there is A, U and Ma. These three are what that makes Om. A, U, And then after the ends, there comes a silence. One has to go to a silence, and that's what they say is the fourth state, Turiya state. So we have the waking state, the dream state, and the deep sleep state. But there is a basis on which all these three states exists, and that basis is the consciousness. So, for example, when we wake up in the morning, how we know if we had a very nice deep sleep, we know that I had a very nice deep sleep. But if we did not have a nice deep sleep, we also know that we did not have a nice deep sleep. Why is it? How do we know? Because that consciousness, the stream of consciousness is eternally present. Like it is, what is, so basically there is a mantra, Mahavakya, which says, I am Atma Brahma. So Atma is what is making us conscious in this particular body, and Brahman is the state on which the whole manifestation occurs. So Krishna actually says in Bhagavad-Gita, Brahmano hi pratishtaham amritasya avyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya ekantikasya cha. Krishna mentions that the Brahman is based on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna himself. Pratishta aham. He says aham is Krishna. So the Brahman is based on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is one particular verse in Sri Ishopanishad. The devotee prays to the Lord that please remove your glaring effulgence. Hiranmayena patrena satyasya pahitamukham tattvam pusham apavano satya dharmaya drishtaya. The devotee is praying to the Supreme Lord in Sri Ishopanishad. He is saying that Hiranmayena patrena satyasya apahitamukham. So the transcendental divine face is radiating with golden rays. And the devotee is saying that please remove your glaring effulgence so that we can see your transcendental divine personality. Satya dharmaya drishtaya. So this is the basis of, so this is where the difference between the bhakti and jnana happens. So you've got a yoga and Krishna, if you remember from the previous chapters, Krishna talks about Sankhya and yoga. Sankhya is the jnana marga, and yoga is the bhakti marga. So you've got a jnana marga and a bhakti marga. So in the jnana marga, what is happening is it is based on the conception of nirguna Brahman. So nirguna Brahman means a Brahman that does not have any kind of personality. It does not have any. So basically that Brahman is where everything becomes one. There is no two. That is what is Advaita. And the Advaita philosophy is based on Jnana Marga. So in the Advaita philosophy, what happens is they say Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. What they say is that the only truth that exists is Brahman, and all the multiplicity that we see in this material world is a kind of illusion. And they give the example of a rope and a snake. So they say that if there is a dark room and someone is going to the dark room and they misidentify the rope as a snake, they'll get afraid of it, right? They'll say, oh, there's a snake. But once the light comes in, they will know that it's not snake, it is a rope. So exactly in the same way, what they say is, when we are in the darkness of ignorance, we do not realize our eternal nature as an eternal part and parcel of the Lord. So then, what happens is, this material world looks very turbulent in that sense. So there is a very beautiful verse by Prahlad Maharaj. He says that, Naivo dvije parat duratyaya vaitaranyas tvad virya gayana mahamrita magna chitta. What he says is that, O Lord, I am not afraid of this material existence. Why I am not afraid of this material existence? Because tvad virya gayana mahamrita magna chitta. Because I am totally absorbed in remembering you and singing your glories. So I am not really afraid of being in this material world. But he says, Shoche tato vimukha chetasa indriyartha maya sukhaya bharam udohato vimudhan. What he says is, but I am really very sad, very compassionate towards the people who are vimukha chetasa, who are unfortunately not trying to understand their eternal nature. I am really compassionate towards them. And why? Because maya sukhaya bharam udvato vimudhan. Unfortunately, in a foolish way, the people are not knowing their eternal nature as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. So very beautifully, Prahlad Maharaj says in that verse. So this particular verse, Krishna is saying about Yad Aksharam Veda Vido Vadanti. So one Veda Vida means one who actually knows. One who actually knows the Veda. They are saying, Vadanti means they are saying. They are talking about what? Akshara. They are talking about something that is imperishable, that we are. So our original nature is Achedyohyam Addahyohyam Akledyo Ashtoshyevacha Nitya Sarvagata Sthanur Achaloyam Sanatana. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad-Gita what our original nature is. We are something that Achedyohyam. Achedyohyam means that which cannot be cut by the weapons. Addahyohyam, that which cannot be burned by the fire. Akledyo, that which cannot be made wet by water. Ashoshya, which cannot be made dried by the air. Achedyohyam, Addahyohyam, Akledyohyam, Ashoshya, Nitya. We are eternally existing. Sarvagata, that means the living entities are present everywhere. Sthanur Achaloyam Sanatana. So basically, our original nature is Akshara. So this is what Krishna is saying here, that the people who actually know Vedavid, they are saying about Akshara. What is that? Yad Vishanti Yad Yatayo Vitaraga. So they reach that stage where the Vitaraga means they are. So when we know about our eternal nature, so basically the yoga mentions, Patanjali mentions about the pancha kleshas, the 5 kinds of afflictions that we have. It starts with avidya. Avidya is ignorance. Then when there is ignorance, there is asmita. Asmita means there is a strong attachment to this particular bodily constitution. So when I am strongly attached to this body and mind that I have, then there is raga and dvesha. So then whatever this mind and body likes, I am attached to it, and whatever this body and mind dislikes, I try to run away from it. There is strong propulsion to do that. So raga and dvesha, and then the final is abhinivesha. Abhinivesha means fear of death. So this exists in the material realm, but when one when one knows about one's eternal position as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, what happens is, even though these will still exist, because we have got this particular proclivity towards things, it will still exist, but we will know that I am something different from this. This is happening to me, but I am not this. So this is the transcendental knowledge. So that is what. So then Krishna says here, Yad ikshanto brahmacharyam charanti tatte padam sangrahena pravakshe. So once one knows this, one goes into the brahmacharyam. Brahmacharyam has got multiple meanings. In this case, it is talking about celibacy, but the celibacy can happen naturally. You know how celibacy can happen naturally? When one knows one's eternal nature, and when one knows that the actual bliss is irrespective of what the body is going through, then one will not be attached to the sense gratification. You know, so the challenge that happens is, if we don't have this knowledge from Bhagavad-Gita by Krishna about Dehi nosmi yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara. Krishna says, because there is proprietor within the body, Dehi, there is kaumaram, yavanam and jara. There is this youth, childhood, youth and old age. Tata dehantaram prapti. Krishna, similarly, one has to give up this body. Dhiras tatrana muhyati. Krishna says a sober person does not get bewildered by these changes that are happening. So this knowledge, this is called Atma Jnana. So when there is no Atma Jnana, what will happen is, the only thing that one will think of is that senses and the sense enjoyment is the only way of having happiness in the life. So then, unfortunately, this is what the problem with the sense gratification is that this is what Krishna says, Adyantavanta konteya nateshu ramate buddha. Yahi sansparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya hote. So basically, what is the situation is that we as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna are Satchidananda. Satchidananda means we are eternally existing, the existence property. We have consciousness, the pure consciousness property, and then Ananda. We are blissful. We are totally, purely blissful. But now what is happening is, because since time immemorial I have been taking material bodies after material bodies after material bodies, I got this subtle body, the mind, intelligence and false ego. And this mind, intelligence and false ego is making me think that the real happiness is coming from sense gratification. So then I get addicted to sense gratification. But actually, the source of happiness is within us. Because the thing is, very, very basic thing, like, for example, we keep discussing this thing many times, but it's important to get this, the more we discuss it, the more we will try and understand this. See, the difference between me as a living person and me as a dead person, what is it? The body is still existing. When I die, the body exists. But what is it that is missing? It is that Satchidananda part, that Amsha part, the actual. So Krishna has got this internal energy and external energy. So the internal energy of the Lord is what is making me conscious. And it is the consciousness which is full of bliss. The consciousness does not need anything else. That's why when someone is in a liberated state of existence, they are called Atma Rama. Atma Rama means one who is blissful within oneself. One does not need anything else for their happiness. They're totally self-satisfied. So when a person is totally self-satisfied, Atma Rama, Nigranthapi Urukrame. In the scriptures in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is written that when one is in the state of Atmarama, blissfully without any need of anything else, one has taken off Urukrama. Urukrama means in the material world what happens is that we are constantly doing lots and lots of activities. Why we are doing activities in the material world? Because there is Artha and Kama. So if you look at the four Purusharthas, it is called Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. So we do Dharma religious activities, the religious activities in a nice way, so that there is artha. Artha is some benefit that comes to me. When that benefit comes to me, generally artha also means money, but artha means any kind of benefit that I get. I do dharma, I do nice dharma, and then I get nice artha in return, nice benefits in return. Once I get nice benefits in return, what will I do? Kama. I will try and enjoy the sense gratification. And then, after I am totally satisfied everything, I will try and go for moksha. Then I understand that I am doing all these things, but the actual enjoyment is not coming. Then one will go for moksha. This is the purushartha. But when one is actually trying to understand this Bhagavad-Gita, like as Krishna is saying in this verse, what will happen is, one will understand that the reason for dharma, artha and kama is because the moksha element is already there within us. Because our original moksha element is indirectly propelling the dharma, artha and kama. But it is not being affected by it. So this is, in chemistry they talk about an element called catalyst. What catalyst does is, it is participating in that chemical reaction, and it makes the reaction faster. But it itself does not participate in the reaction. It just makes it faster. So our original existence as an eternal consciousness is just like that. It is just present, but it is not affected by anything. But we have this subtle body, which is mind, intelligence and false ego, that actually gets affected. And the moment I identify myself with the false ego, that is the time when all the problems happen. That's why Krishna says, Mama eva amsha jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Krishna says that all the living entities in this universe are my eternal part and parcels. Manaha shashtani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. But when they identify themselves with the mind and the five senses, and the mind is called the sixth sense, the struggle in the material universe starts. Karshati. The struggle starts because this, we think that the relative reality is absolute reality. But relative reality is never absolute reality. Relative is always relative. Because relative is based on absolute. What does it mean? That the subtle body, the gross body, and all types of they're called pancha koshas they talk about. In the body, annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha, then manomaya kosha, then vijnanamaya kosha, then anandamaya kosha. So basically what happens is, our whole existence is based on 5 sheets. The first is annamaya. Annamaya means the body. The body, see, if person stops eating, they will die, right? So the whole body is actually dependent on what we are eating. We keep eating and then the body subsists. So the body is annamaya. Then we have the breath that is taking place. That is pranamaya. Then we have the mind, manomaya. Then we have the intelligence, that is vijnanamaya. And then we have our original, the part and parcel of the Lord, that is called anandamaya. And so this body is made up of these 5 sheets. So what Krishna is mentioning in this particular verse is how a person goes into that state of understanding that they are an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, Akshara. Okay, so then now we go to the verse 12. Sarvadvarani samyamya manohridi nirudhya cha murdhni adhayatmana pranam astito yoga dharanam. So word by word here is Sarvadvarani. All the doors of the body. Samyamya. Controlling. Manaha. The mind. Hridi. In the heart. Nirudhya. Confining. Cha. Also. Murdhni. On the head. Adhaya. fixing, Atmanaha, of the soul, Pranam, the life air, Asthitaha, situated in, Yoga Dharanam, the yogic situation. Translation here is the yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses, and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga. Okay, so basically in the previous verse, Krishna was talking about how when one knows about the Akshara, the eternal situation, one is going into the Brahmacharya, one is knowing one's eternal position. Then in this particular verse, Krishna is giving a practical example of what exactly the yogi is doing. This is actually a yoga practice. So this is a yoga practice where we have got this Ashtanga yoga. Ashtanga yoga is Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. So there are 8 different limbs of the yoga. So it starts with Yama and Niyama. Yama is rules and Niyama is regulations. So you got rules, Yama, Niyama, then you have Asana, the yoga asanas. That has become very famous, right? So the Hatha yoga that they call, the different types of yoga asanas that people do. The most famous thing that the Ashtanga yoga has got 8 different limbs, but the thing that has become the most famous is the asana, the Hatha yoga. Why it has become most famous? Because it's all based on bodily exercise. So this actually very clearly indicates, unfortunately, the moment we are in this material world, we are so much bodily oriented. But that is why this is called material world. Because why? Because it's all based on matter. We are only seeing matter in the material world. What we don't understand is that to see matter, there needs to be spirit. Otherwise, we cannot see matter. So this in this verse, Krishna is mentioning about Sarva Dvarani Samyamya Mano Hridi Nirudhyacha. So when the yogi is concentrating, they are concentrating, the pranayama, the breath control. So when we are talking about Ashtanga yoga, there is Yama, Niyama, Asana, then the 4th is pranayama. Pranayama is control of breath. Then Pratyahara. This is actually Pratyahara as well here. Pratyahara means withdrawing oneself from the external world. So when one is Sarva Dvarani, so when what is a Dwara? The Dwara for this living entity in this particular body for us is, the 2 eyes, the 2 ears, the smelling, the tongue, and then the excretion. So it's called Navadvara Pure Dehi. Naivam Kartu, Na Kurvan, Naivam Kartu. Krishna actually mentions in Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna says, the Dehi, we as original, eternal part and parcel of the Lord, we are situated in a city of 9 gates. Beautiful metaphor. It is a very beautiful metaphor. So the 9 gates is what? The senses that is gathering the information. The eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, the touch. So all these, the Jnanendriyas. So what? Pratyahara is the, so when we say the Ashtanga yoga, there is Yama is first, rules, Niyama is second, regulations, then Asana, the yogic postures that they do, is third, then Pranayama, the control of breath, is fourth, then Pratyahara is fifth. Pratyahara is what? One is becoming totally concentrated in terms of going inside instead of. So generally, what happens is the going of inside only happens during dream and deep sleep. If you look at conditioned state of existence, in the conditioned state of existence, what happens? one wakes up in the morning, immediately, this bodily state of existence comes into picture. Then one is thinking how I can, do today's work and how I can, enjoy myself as much as I can. This is a conditioned state of existence. And then one does lots and lots of activities, one enjoys the senses, all those things happen. And then night comes, one becomes tired, and then one will go to bed, and then one closes the eyes. So one of the doors has closed, right? The eye door, the 9 doors, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, so that is 6, the tongue, taste, and then the excretion. So that is called the 9 doors. So basically, the doors are only closing in a conditioned state of existence. It is only closing when one is sleeping. But when someone is meditating, they are consciously closing the doors. They are trying to get to their original existence, which is an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. So when they are doing that, they're naturally one will observe the breath. The breath control will take place. And then here Krishna is specifically mentioning about, let's see, he's mentioning about Murdhni Adhyatmanah Pranam. So fixing, so basically, Asthito Yoga Dharana. So basically fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. So this is all the yoga practice. So what happens is pratyahara, when one is closing all the doors, then there is dharana. So we talked about yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara. Dharana is when one's focus starts. So basically when I have withdrawn my external inputs, my focus has started. So the starting of the focus is called dharana. When that focus becomes very strong, it is called dhyana. So that is the 7th. And then when there is only focus and there is nothing else, that is samadhi. So samadhi means, in samadhi what happens is, the link with the Lord is never disconnected. That is samadhi. So one might be doing lots and lots of different things in this world, because when we are born with a particular type of body, we have to do those activities. So a person who is totally in samadhi will be doing all those activities that they are supposed to do, but that connection with Krishna, they always realize their connection with Krishna. They are never disconnected from Krishna. That is samadhi. So Krishna actually mentions Bhoga Aishwarya Prasaktanam Taya Parata Chetasam Vyavasayatmika Buddhir Samadho Na Vidhyate. Right? So if someone, again it's the same example, if someone is only thinking that I am this body, or they go to the mind aspect, they also think about their thought. If they are only thinking that, then their whole life situation is based on how much I can enjoy my senses. What is the extra thing that I can do, the extra mile that I can go to enjoy my senses today? That is the only goal I have in life, if I'm in a conditioned state of existence. So then it becomes Bhoga Aishwarya Prasaktana. I'm attached to Bhoga and Aishwarya. My actual intelligence has been kidnapped by the material energy of the Lord. Aparata Chetasam. Then Vyavasayatmika Buddhir Samadho Na Vidhyate. Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, we have discussed this before, yeah? Vyavasayatmika means that one-pointed concentration to become established in my original position as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. That is Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. So basically in this particular verse, Krishna is mentioning about the yogic process. For example, they talk about the chakras, the 7 chakras that one has. The topmost on the head is called Sahasrara Chakra. So generally they say that when a yogi who is really very proficient in yoga, when they leave the body, they leave through the Sahasrara Chakra. Because because their life force exists on the top. But people who are in the mode of passion and ignorance, their life force are existing in the lower part. So then they're living like that. So this is why urdhvam gachanti satvastha madhye tishtati rajasa jaganya guni vrittistha adho gachanti tamasa. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad-Gita, those who are in the mode of goodness, they go to the higher planetary system. Those who are in the mode of passion, they stay in the middle planetary system. And those who are in the mode of ignorance, they go into the lower planetary systems. And this is kind of the biggest challenge in this existence in this material world is that one is continuously, unfortunately taking life after life, birth after birth, different planetary systems, different species of life. And it is punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatari shayanam. This is what Shankaracharya says in Bhajagovindam. He says that this is an unfortunate situation in this material world that one is constantly taking birth, one is constantly dying, one is constantly in the womb of one mother and another. So Shankaracharya says, Iha samsare bahudustare. He says that this material world is very difficult to come out of. He says that kripaya pare pahi murare. He says, O enemy of demon Mura, O Krishna, please give your causeless mercy so that you are able to help us to cross over this ocean of birth and death. So basically this particular verse is about that yoga practice, Sahasrara Chakra. Then verse 13, you can read this. Om iti ekaksharam brahma.
Om iti ekaksharam Brahma.
Vyaharan mam anusmaran.
Vyaharan mam anusmaran.
Yah prayati tyajan deham.
Yah prayati tyajan deham.
Sayati paramam gatim.
Sayati paramam gatim.
What the word Om?
Om.
The combination of letters Om, Omkara.
The combination of letters Om, Omkara.
Iti,
Iti.
thus.
Thus.
Eka aksharam.
Eka aksharam.
The one syllable.
The one syllable.
Brahma.
Brahma.
Absolute.
Absolute.
Vyaharan.
Vyaharan.
Vibrating.
Vibrating.
Mam.
Mam.
Me, Krishna.
Me, Krishna.
Anusmaran.
Anusmaran.
Remembering.
Remembering.
Yaha.
Yaha.
Anyone who.
Anyone who.
Prayati.
Prayati.
Leaves. Tyajan.
Tyajan.
Quitting.
Quitting.
Deham.
Deham.
This body.
This body.
Saha.
Saha.
He.
Yati.
Yati. Achieves. Paramam.
Paramam.
The supreme.
The supreme.
Gatim.
Gatim.
Destination.
Destination.
The translation is after being situated.
After being situated
In this yoga practice.
in this yoga practice
And vibrating the sacred syllable Om.
and vibrating the sacred syllable Om,
The supreme combination of letters.
the supreme combination of letters.
If one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead
If one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead
and quits his body,
and quits his body,
he will certainly reach
he will certainly reach
the spiritual planets.
the spiritual planets.
Okay, so in this verse, Krishna is talking about the importance of the Omkara mantra. So, Om iti ekaksharam Brahma Vyaharan mam anusmaran. It's quite interesting here. Krishna says that the person is saying Om. Vyaharan means saying, and then he also says mam anusmaran. And remembering me as well. So this is where the difference between, we were talking about the jnana and yoga, right? The Sankhya and yoga. Sankhya is the jnana marga, yoga is the bhakti. Yoga actually means connection. Viyoga means when someone is separated, it is viyoga. And when someone is connected with some other person, they are in yoga. They are in union. So, yoga generally would mean bhakti, because in bhakti there has to be a bhakta, there has to be a devotee, there has to be a Bhagavan, there has to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and between bhakta and Bhagavan there has to be bhakti, the devotional service. So basically, the yoga is based on the Supreme Personality of Godhead having his own personal form. And then all the devotees, they are recognizing the Supreme Person and they are rendering loving devotional service to the Supreme Person. That is yoga, bhakti yoga. The Sankhya, Jnana, as we said, the Sankhya philosophy is based on Nirguna Brahman. And Nirguna means without any qualities. So that would mean that their philosophy then would be that there is only Brahman, and any kind of duplicity that we see is because of us being under the influence of the material energy of the Lord, because of Maya. So this is the difference. How they can be, so generally what happens is, that's why these two different paths. So you've got an Advaita path, which says that there is only Brahman and everything else is an illusion. And then you've got this Dvaita path, Madhvacharya and Ramanujacharya and Vaishnava Sampradaya generally. They have this concept of Saguna Brahman, the Brahman with qualities. So the people who are in the yoga, they say that, the Bhakti Yoga, they say that the Saguna Brahman is the supreme, and the Nirguna Brahman is a part of Saguna Brahman. Whereas the people on the Jnana Marga, the people who say that there is only Brahman and everything else, they say that there is only, the Nirguna Brahman is the only reality, and the Saguna Brahman is based on Nirguna Brahman. So these are the two different views that exist. But depending on what one's inclination is, one can actually follow that path, because everyone is an individual, unique person. They would have their own inclination. Of course, it is mentioned in the scriptures about the four Kumaras. There were the four Kumaras: Sanat, Sanaka, Sanatana, and Sanananda. They were the Manasa Putra of Brahma, the mind-born sons of Brahma. The Brahma, the first living entity who created the whole universe. So it is said that these four Kumaras were in a Jnana stage. They were fully in a realized state of a Jnani, and they smelled the tulsi leaf offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, and then they became pure devotees of Krishna. It is said about, so basically this is the power. Krishna actually mentions, he says, Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantasya dridhavata namasyantasya mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Krishna mentions that my devotee is constantly kirtayanto mam, constantly glorifying me. Satatam, always. He does not say that the kirtan will end after one gets liberation. He doesn't say kirtanam, kirtanam is only related to being in a conditioned state of existence. It's not like that. So what happens is, when we are in a conditioned state of existence, we do kirtan, but because we are conditioned, our kirtan is not pure. But when we become liberated, we are doing it from the state of purity. So this is what it is mentioned in the scriptures, that everything related to Krishna, his names, his pastimes, his entourage, all his paraphernalia, everything related to the Lord, cannot be known by the blunt material senses. Sevon mukhe jivhado swayameva surati. It is said that when one is really inclined to serve the Lord, starting with tongue, by chanting the holy names of the Lord himself reveals. So when the Lord reveals, then the real devotion starts. Until then, it is a preparatory stage. One is preparing. Just like, for example, if you look at this existence in this material world, when does a person, say you've got a person who's going to university and they're getting a degree from the university. When they're getting the degree from university, they might actually go and do some job, but that job will only be for some gaining of experience, But when does a person actually become productive? The person actually becomes productive after they complete their degree, and then they actually go and actually get a job. So this is exactly the same way. So when one is doing the devotional service in the conditioned state of existence, it is like one is preparing oneself. One is preparing oneself, and then when one becomes very strongly prepared, then there is pure devotional service. The pure devotional service is Anyabhilashita Shunya. There is no other desire other than to serve Krishna. That is pure devotional service. But in the conditioned state, the devotional service is Karma Mishra and Dhyana Mishra. So devotional service, I do some kind of service to the Lord, but I expect something back in return. In the conditioned state of existence, that is the thing. So here, when Krishna says about Mam Anusmaran, it is really important. The aspect of remembering Krishna is really important. So then he says that Ya Prayati Tyajan Deham Yati Sayati Paramam Gatim. So the main point here that Krishna is saying here is that one says Om, one remembers Krishna, and at that time, if one is leaving the body, one reaches the Lord's abode, Paramam Gatim. So next, this verse is really a very beautiful verse, very important verse. Ananya Chetaha Satatam,
Ananya Chetaha Satatam,
Yo Mam Smarati Nityasha,
Yo Mam Smarati Nityasha,
Tasyaham Sulabha Partha,
Tasyaham Sulabha Partha,
Nitya Yuktasya Yoginaha,
Nitya Yuktasya Yoginaha.
So the word by word, Ananya Chetaha,
Ananya Chetaha,
without deviation of the mind.
without deviation of the mind.
Satatam,
Satatam,
always.
always.
Yaha,
Yaha,
anyone who.
anyone who.
Mam, me, Krishna.
Me, Krishna.
Smarati,
Smarati,
remembers.
remembers.
Nityashaha,
Nityashaha,
regularly.
regularly.
Tasya,
Tasya,
to him.
to him.
Aham,
Aham,
I am.
I am.
Sulabha,
Sulabha,
very easy to achieve.
very easy to achieve.
Partha,
Partha,
O son of Pritha.
O son of Pritha.
Nitya,
Nitya,
regularly.
regularly.
Yuktasya,
Yuktasya,
engaged.
engaged.
Yogina,
Yogina,
for the devotee.
for the devotee.
Translation. For one who always remembers me,
For one who always remembers me,
without deviation,
without deviation,
I am easy to obtain,
I am easy to obtain.
O son of Pritha,
O son of Pritha,
because of his constant engagement
because of his constant engagement
in devotional service.
in devotional service.
It's a very, very important, nice verse where Krishna is saying, so you know how it is connected. The previous verse and this verse, how it is connected. In the previous verse, he was mentioning, Krishna was mentioning about Mam Anusmaran, remembering me. So now he is continuing, Yo Mam Smarati Nityasha. So now he is talking about constantly remembering Krishna. So very beautiful verses. Ananya Chetaha. Chetaha means mind. Ananya means continuously. Continuously through mind. And then he says Satatam. Satatam means always. Ananya Chetaha, continuously through mind, always. Yo Mam. One who remembers, one who me. Smarati Nityasha. Remembers me always. Tasyaham Sulabha Partha. For such a person, I am easily available, O son of Pritha. Why? Because Nitya Yuktasya Yogina. Because that person is constantly being in touch with me. So this is the example that Srila Prabhupada gives is that of an iron kept in fire. If an iron rod is kept in fire for a very long time, what will happen to the iron rod? It will become like fire. If you keep the iron rod very long time in the fire, you won't see the difference between the fire and iron rod. It will feel as if they are the same. Exactly the same thing. So constantly when one is remembering Krishna, Ananya Cheta Satatam Yo, Mam Smarati Nityasha, Krishna says, Tasyaham Sulabha Partha. To such a person, I am very easily available. Why? Because Nitya Yuktasya Yogina. Because that person is constantly being in touch with me. So this is what, at another place Krishna says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam stateva bhajamyaham. So whatever way one comes to me, I reciprocate to that person accordingly. This is the thing, for example, someone like Kamsa is approaching Krishna with an attitude of killing Krishna. So then Krishna is reciprocating to Kamsa. But the reciprocation of Krishna is such that he, even his killing is liberating the devils. So this is the purity. So the example that is given is that of the sun. The sun falls on impure, filthy surfaces, and sun's light also falls on very pure surface. But sun itself does not get impacted by the impurity of the filthy surface, or even the purity of the pure surface. The sun and sun's light does not get affected by it. Exactly the same way, the Lord's. So Krishna says that samoham sarva bhuteshu. He says that I am equal to everyone. Name dveshyosti na priya. I am neither antagonistic to anyone, nor I am too favorable to anyone. Ye bhajanti me bhaktya mai te teshu chapiham. But whatever way someone comes to me, I reciprocate to them accordingly. So it is reciprocity basically, and we can actually see ourselves as well. Like we are part and parcels of the Lord, right? And we also have the reciprocal nature, right? But our reciprocal nature could be based on conditioned existence, But Lord's reciprocal nature is that Vedaham samatitani. Krishna mentions that He knows everything, Vartamani cha arjuna, bhavishyani cha bhutani. The Lord knows everything. So because He knows everything, He is omniscient, omnipotent. His reciprocity will be based on His omniscience. So that is a different type of reciprocity. That is not like a reciprocity that we might do, but we can still identify, because we also are reciprocal in our relationships, right? Whatever way someone behaves to us, we try and behave in the same way to them. So very beautiful verse, this one, Ananya Cheta. And then the next one is the last one that we are discussing today. Mamupetya punarjanma, dukkhalayam ashashvatam, napnuvanti mahatmanah, samsiddhim paramam gataha. So word by word, mam, me, upetya, achieving, punah, again, janma, birth, dukkhalayam, place of miseries, ashashvatam, temporary, na, never, apnuvanti, attain, mahatmana, the great souls, samsiddhim, perfection, paramam, ultimate, gataha, having achieved. So translation here is, after attaining me, the great souls, who are yogis in devotion, never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. Yeah, so these two verses are really quite crucial. The previous one that we discussed, Ananya Cheta, and even this one, Mamupetya Punarjanma. So here the important, so basically Krishna is talking about Dukkhalayam and Ashashvata. So this material world is Ashashvata. Ashashvata means that it is not permanent. We know that it's not permanent. Just like our own existence is not permanent. We take birth and then we go through, we grow, and then we grow old, and then we kind of so it's called Shadvikar. There is called 6 kinds of changes. Take birth, grows, stays for some time, produces byproducts, dwindles, and then vanishes. So this is the basic nature of everything in this material world. So basically, our original nature is eternal, and it is an eternal part and parcel of the Lord. And then we have got this temporary subtle body and the gross body. So basically what is happening is, the subtle and the gross body, because the subtle body has got these inclinations, it is continuing to take birth in this material world. So until the time a person thinks that there is enjoyment in this material world, one will keep taking birth after birth after birth after birth. until the time when one does not realize that actual bliss is already there, and I don't need to have anything else to get that happiness. One will continuously take birth and birth. But when we start engaging in these activities, this whatever we are doing in terms of discussing Bhagavad-Gita and hearing about Krishna, what is happening is Shrunvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridiyantasto hi Abhadrani Vidunoti Surit Sata. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad-Gita, when we are hearing about Krishna, what happens is Hridiyantasto hi Abhadrani Vidunoti. So basically, because the subtle body, the mind, intelligence and false ego has got all these lots and lots of material desires. Until the time we have these material desires, we will need to keep taking physical bodies to satisfy the material desires. But when the desire starts getting cleansed through the hearing and chanting process and through the understanding of the knowledge that Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita, then there will be a time when one actually reaches Mamupetya, what Krishna says here. So when one reaches the Supreme Lord, then there is no Punarjanma. There is no again taking birth in this material world. Where Ashashvatam, in this place which is temporary, and it is Dukkhalaya. It is an abode of misery. Why it is an abode of misery? Because no one wants to get disease, but somehow or other people get disease. No one wants to grow old. Somehow or other people grow old, and the science is trying to find solutions for all this, right? Because we have got this superior intelligence as human beings. We are trying to find solutions. We are trying to cure all types of diseases, but unfortunately some new disease starts coming in, and then we have to again start trying to cure that. So that disease, the whole emancipation from disease is not happening in this material world anyway, in the material body. Then old age, again, people are devising different scientific techniques not to grow old, but no one has kind of reached that situation yet. And then death. So one again, people might find scientifically try to find things through which they will never die. But unfortunately, so all this is why is it that these things are the problem that happens in this material existence is that if someone's life is very nicely arranged, like they have lots of money, they have everything nicely settled, nice family, everything, then people think that it's fine, everyone gets disease, I also get disease, what's the problem? Everyone gets old, I am also getting old, what's the problem? Everyone dies, I am also dying, what's the problem? So then one is never trying to go to that state of coming out of this Dukkhalayam, because Dukkhalayam doesn't seem to be Dukkhalayam. It seems to be Sukhalayam. So then one will not. And this was a whole thing of Buddha's as well. Like Buddha's whole story is based on this. Like he was shielded when he was born. There was this astrologer who told to his father that your son will either be a great emperor or he'll be a great monk. So his father got afraid. He did not want his son to be a monk. So he was trying to shield Buddha from seeing any kind of difficulties. And he was given total luxury, everything in his own palace. He was not going out. And then suddenly when he became old enough, one day he just sneaked out. And then he saw all these things. He saw that someone is diseased. He saw that there is an old person, and then he saw that someone has died and the corpse is being taken. And then immediately he says that why is this happening? This is what is Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Krishna also mentions in Bhagavad Gita. So because there is birth as a material body, there is death in this material body. And between birth and death, there is Jara and Vyadhi. Jara is old age, Vyadhi is disease. So this is what is the crux of discussing Bhagavad Gita. Somehow or other, we understand our original eternal nature as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, and then that is the beginning of real spiritual journey. Until then, it is a preparatory phase. Krishna says, 4 kinds of pious people come to me. Chaturvidha bhajanti mam, artho jignasur arthati jnani cha bharatashava. Person who is distressed, a person who wants wealth, a person who is inquisitive, and a person who is in knowledge. So, most of the time, what is happening is the people are in the first 2 categories. They are either distressed or they want wealth. But when one keeps going to the Lord, there is a cleansing that will happen, and then slowly one will get to the other 2 stage. The stage of inquisitivity, athato brahma jignasa. In the Brahma Sutra, there is a Brahma Sutra which Veda Vyasa has written. And the first aphorism of Brahma Sutra is athato brahma jignasa. Now is the time to inquire my real nature. Who am I? So that is what Krishna is trying to help us understand in these verses. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Srimad Bhagavad-Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Any questions, Shubham?
No comments or questions, so we'll sing the Narasimha prayer. Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Hito Narasimho Parato Narasimho Yato Yato Yami Tato Narasimho Bahir Narasimho Hridaye Narasimho Narasimhamadin Sharanam Prapati Kakara Vari Natha Adputra Chinda Dalita Hiranyakatipo Tanu Brinda Keshavadrita Hari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare
Tava kar kamal vari nakha adbhuta shringa dalita hiranyakashipo tanu bringa keshavadrita narhari rupa jai jagadish hare jai jagadish hare jai jagadish hare
Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev
Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev
Jaya Narahari Jaya Narahari Jaya Narahari Jaya Narahari
Jaya Narahari Jaya Narahari Jaya Narahari Jaya Narahari
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Bhakta Prahlad Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Bhakta Prahlad
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Bhakta Prahlad Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Bhakta Prahlad
Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल।
इसमें भगवान की
जय।
जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय।
जय।
नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठावताय श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी की नामे नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे सर्वं श्री कृष्णार्पणमस्तु कृष्णे मतिरस्तु हरे कृष्ण
हरे कृष्ण।